So for this video, the focus is going to be on Revolve. Now, along with extrusion, it's the most basic way of creating 3D forms. Between using both of those, extrusion and Revolve, you can make pretty much any profile that you are after. So the way that Revolve works is we draw half a shape that we want to end up with, and then we revolve it around about an axis. So in this case, I'm going to start a new sketch, and I'm going to make a rectangle, because that rectangle is going to be half of a cylinder which is going to be formed. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to put an arc on it, just to see what it does. Okay, so there's my arc. To keep my sketch nice and neat, I'm going to trim away that line, and I'm going to finish the sketch. Then I'm going to go up to Revolve, which is up here in the Create tab. Again, our little animation gives us a clue as to what's going to happen, but if I click Revolve, in this case it auto selects the profile, and what I need is an axis for it to follow. Now here, because I've got a straight edge going through the middle of my shape, I can just select that, and I get this little sort of cut off ball kind of idea, like a ball bearing maybe. So automatically it gives me a full rotation around that axis, a full 360 degrees. But I can also do things like, if I type in 180, I will get half a revolve. If I type in 270, I will get 3/4 of a revolve, and I can put in as many degrees as I want or need. For the purposes of this, I want the full 360 degrees. Click the tick when I'm happy, and there is my little revolved ball bearing. And the other thing that Revolve can be quite useful for is creating hollow cylindrical objects. So in this case, I'm just going to make a hollow cylinder, kind of pipe thing. So because I'm drawing half of the shape, I'm drawing half of the pipe, and I'm leaving a gap to here, which I'm going to use as my center axis. So because I want this pipe to be hollow, I'm not putting anything here. What I do need though, as well as the sketch, is I do actually need a line to reference later as my axis. So I'm going to draw that line down the center. Now if I really wanted to, I can right click that and make it a construction line, so that I know it's not an actual line, it's just there as a guide. If I finish the sketch, and then I go to Revolve, again it auto selects the profile, so now I just need my axis, which is there. And now I've got my nice little revolved cylinder with a hollow hole through it, which is one process rather than doing two extrusions, which can save time and help the computer to process what I'm asking it to do. Just like with the normal Revolve, I can do a certain angle, so I can do like just 90 degrees or 180, which is quite useful for showing what I'm meaning about half of the shape. So when I'm drawing it, I'm just drawing one rectangle. I'm not drawing two, just drawing one, and then it'll be revolved around the axis. Okay, change that back to 360 so that I get the full revolve happening. Click OK, and there's my pipe. Other things that I can revolve include cone features rather than just cylindrical features. So this can be a really good way of making up a cone. Again, I'm only going to draw half of the object. So in this case, I'll pan up a little bit so that I've got a bit more space. I am going to draw beginnings of a triangle and then join them up. Now I could spend time dimensioning this, but I'm not in this case. But you could dimensioning the length and the height of your cone, or the radius of your cone I suppose. Click Revolve. It auto selects the profile again because I'm lucky. Axis, I want to revolve it around this. Just like before, I could choose to use 180 degrees or a certain degree amount, but I want a full cone, so the full 360 degrees. And there's my cone. So that is one way of creating a conical shape using Revolve. And here's where Revolve starts to get quite useful if you wanted to do slightly more complex features that maybe an extrusion you'd have to do 2 or 3 different operations to be able to do it. So if I've got, remember I'm only drawing half shape, I'm going to do this using a polyline So then say I wanted to taper in, then down, back out, and down again. And again, this could all be dimensioned, but I'm just doing it by eye, just to show you this. And then I'm going to revolve the profile around that line. And click OK. And there is my slightly more complicated revolved shape. Like a lot of the other creating tools in Inventor, I can also revolve to cut things. So if I find a work plane which goes through the middle of this revolve, so that I can see what I'm doing, I'm actually going to use something called slice graphics, which removes material in front of the work plane that I'm working on. So I can now see the inside of my cylinder, my cylindrical thing. And I'm just going to mark out a little sort of hollowed section. Now because I can't grab any lines here, I'm going to use project geometry to give me some reference points. And I'm going to go for a line down the middle. And just add in a little cone which is going to be cut away and removed. Close up the shape and finish the sketch. And now this time when I go for revolve, I've auto selected the profile, axis, because I'm drawing on the axis with half of my shape I don't need to create a new one. And this time I'm going to make sure that I've got cut, but remember the terminology you need is subtract. So if I click subtract, click OK, and I subtract that material. And I'm making a rather ugly cup type thing. So something else that we can do with the revolve tool is we can make sort of more complex shapes that are going to be hollow in one operation. So this is a sketch that I've got for a little teacup. Now I've made it up using the rectangle tool, and then I've used the spline tool to create this sort of more complex curve. I've offset it so that I've got a second curve that's copied, and then I've joined the two up with a little arc. So what this is going to do when I revolve it is going to give me this basic teacup shape, and because I've done everything in the sketch, I don't need to do any secondary operations. I don't need to fillet it, I don't need to shell it to hollow it out. So if I finish this sketch and then press the revolve command, again auto selects my profile, axis, I could have drawn an axis in, but I've got a straight edge in my centre, so when I click that, there we go, there's my little teacup shape. Okay, and I've got a nice flat bottom, I'm hollow on the inside without having to have shelled it, and I've got a fillet around the edge without having to do that extra operation, which really just eases up the computer a bit, makes it a bit less stressed out and less likely to glitch. There we go, there's our teacup. Well, the beginning of one, still needs a handle.